Quadruple Valley heat advisory is in effect for southwest Idaho. There's also a red flag warning because of hot temperatures and now gusty wind and dry conditions as well. I'm going to talk about what both of these mean, the impacts we have, plus changes coming in for the next couple of days and all the way through the weekend. All of that in my extended forecast.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Idaho News 6. Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Idaho News 6.
Thanks for joining Idaho News 6. I'm senior reporter Don Nelson. Tonight, a shocking story out of Elmore County. And we'll warn you, some of what you're about to hear and see may be disturbing.
Something shot through the RP's window, hit her daughter, her 6-year-old daughter, in the head.
It was supposed to be a celebration of a family trip to Yellowstone for a wedding anniversary, but it was shattered after a bullet comes flying out of nowhere right through the windshield while driving down the interstate.
Possibly has glass, she is bleeding.
Take a look at these photos shared by the family. This was a frighteningly close call. You can see the hole in the windshield and the headrest. The bullet narrowly missing mom and possibly grazing her daughter, blowing out the rear window as it exited the vehicle. The woman and young girl sprayed with broken glass. The mother now consulting an orthopedic surgeon to avoid permanent damage. Dad was driving and says he's outraged. The family shaken, but glad to be alive. The sheriff says it went down on Saturday around 1:45 in the afternoon. The family was headed eastbound, towing a travel trailer just outside of Hammett near mile marker 114. Our team is on site working to bring you the very latest, and we're talking with safety experts to learn how this could even happen and what shooters must do to avoid it. We're also talking accountability. The sheriff's office telling us they investigated and found someone was target shooting nearby, saying this was just a wayward bullet. In a press release, they write that they have filed charges declining to share the suspect's identity, but when we checked the courthouse Monday, they told us there were no weekend arrests. That matched this incident. The family alleging on Facebook that the shooter was cited but not arrested. We're diving in deeper, and we'll bring you the very latest on those updates as we learn more.
Investigators remain tight-lipped as they continue investigating quadruple homicide that took place in 2 counties in the Magic Valley last week. I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton in Burley, where the community held a candlelight vigil on Sunday night to support each other through their grief.
It's just something we're not used to, and we don't really know how to react to it in a way.
A community in shock after authorities say a 56-year-old man killed 4 people in 3 locations spanning 2 counties last Wednesday.
What's it been like in Minnecaja over the last week?
You just hear a lot of people asking, like, this, why here? This stuff doesn't happen here. And, you know, it's just been like this weight over the town, I feel like. And as somebody who grew up here, it's just something I've never experienced.
Now, people like Brooklyn Carver are looking for ways to heal.
It was just a little time to get together and remember all the lives we've lost over the last few weeks.
Carver joined hundreds of other community members at a vigil Sunday night, sharing these photos with Idaho News 6, giving us a view into a community hurting and healing.
I believe that there is great power in, like, group grieving. It's just, you know you're not alone, but to see the vast number of people who are also grieving just really makes an impact.
Information is slow in coming from the quadruple homicide. Suspect Benjamin Naylor accused of taking 4 lives. Authorities have identified 2 victims, Kelly and Donna Jenks. We are still waiting to learn the identities of the 2 others. I was able to inspect court documents that detailed how investigators pursued their suspect from Minidoka to Kaja and ultimately to Lincoln County, where they took Benjamin Naylor into custody. Court documents do remain sealed or redacted by the court. We'll update you as more information becomes available. I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton in.
Thanks to a plea deal, we may never know what motivated Brian Koberger to brutally murder 4 University of Idaho students in the night 3 years ago, but a new book offers some possible answers. In the Idaho 4, An American Tragedy, authors James Patterson and Vicki Ward talk with those closest with the victims. ABC's Kenya Whitworth has the story.
New revelations from those closest to Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin about what they believe was the motive behind Brian Kohberger's brutal murders of the 4 University of Idaho students.
For people who have followed this story, we wanted to give them closure.
Best-selling author James Patterson and investigative reporter Vicki Ward teaming up for the new book, The Idaho 4, An American Tragedy, conducting over 300 interviews with people with ties to the case, including family and friends who believe Maddie was the target.
There was consensus that it was Maddie that Kohberger was going for, and the victims' families, I think, would all agree with that. You know, everything points to that.
Moscow police allege the culprit's cell phone records show his phone appears to have been close to the King Road house on at least 12 occasions between August and the night of the murders in November, almost always late at night. Lead prosecutor Bill Thompson says Maddie was the first person the culprit killed, the knife sheath with his DNA found under her body.
Kohberger, the criminologist, had such training for this, and he almost committed the perfect crime. Had he not left the knife sheath, he probably wouldn't have got caught.
For nearly 7 weeks, he hid in plain sight one of the only sources of real information, a surviving roommate who told friends what she saw.
It's really through Emily that we learned what sort of Dylan had gone through, and it sounded so surreal to them all, because she said he had a black mask and he looked like he was carrying a black vacuum, and they're sitting there thinking, who could this be? And you know, what on earth has happened?
Just weeks ago, Kohberger taking a plea deal, admitting he killed the 4 friends. Patterson and Ward now hoping to give readers a true sense of who they were and all of their promise.
You will meet Ethan and Kaylee and Maddie and Xana. You will meet them and you will feel them as human beings.
I spoke to Stacey Chapin, Ethan's mom, and she did say, which was wonderful to hear, that she's so glad that this book exists, because it means that they're not forgotten. It is a tribute to them and their lives.
Idaho News 6 will have complete coverage of the sentencing of Brian Kohberger. Join us Wednesday, July 23rd at 9 a.m. We'll be streaming the hearing live in its entirety on idahonews.com and the Idaho News 6 app. You can track the very latest development as they happen on our website, and join us for our evening newscast for additional in-depth context and reaction.
Scott Dorval with your Idaho News 6 forecast.
Good evening, everyone. It is sizzling outside. Temperatures are heating up rapidly across southwest Idaho and central Idaho as well, to those pretty high levels. Close to 100 degrees right now in Boise. The airport officially at 99. Many places in the Western Valley over 100 today. Blue skies continue. North wind at 10. When the wind comes out of the due north, it downslopes down the Boise front, and when the air sinks downhill, it warms up, and so that nudges the temperature up. So 101 could be that high temperature for the day today. We've got a red flag, I should say, a heat advisory in effect right here. You see in the western part of the valley. This is from Weiser down to Murphy. Temperatures up to 104 degrees, and that's what we're seeing in these locations. This is the red flag warning. It's for gusty wind and low relative humidity. There's also lightning down here as well, and so this is in the southern Magic Valley, so just keep that in mind. See, temperature-wise, 102 in many locations. We've had some pretty hot readings out there, and for the rest of the evening, temperatures will slowly slip through the 90s. Overnight tonight, 65 degrees. Coming up for the day tomorrow, a little haze, maybe a little smoke in the air, and temperatures are going to dropping down to 94. And so not as hot as it was today, certainly. And a breeze will develop tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of a refreshing day, even though it's still 94 degrees. I'll talk more about that coming up. In the meantime, let's take a look at your traffic report coming out of Boise to downtown Boise to Meridian. Generally 23 minutes. Typical slowdowns at the Flying Way. That's really about it. Nothing extraordinary here to Meridian. Looking out towards the Caldwell area, similar story as well. 39 minutes, just some minor slowdowns, nothing major. Maybe a lot of people on vacation. Traffic right now looking pretty good. My forecast is certainly looking a little cooler the next couple of days. That's coming up.
At the Boise airport, stepping through security just got a little easier.
It's a major change that could save you major time at airport security. Shoes can stay on. The recent change from the TSA means no more scrambling to grab your things while you're tying your shoes or lacing up your boots. And as airport neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey reports, it's expected to make Boise's already short wait lines even shorter.
Traveling through the Boise airport and airports nationwide just got easier as TSA updated their policies for screening last week. I'm your Boise airport neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, talking to travelers who now get to keep their shoes on through security.
There's times I've run onto flights with shoes in hand.
Chris lives in Melba and is on his way to Orange County from the Boise airport.
I work in construction, so typically the shoes I wear on flight are my steel-toe boots.
Usually he has to spend extra time taking off his big work boots.
It takes up a lot of space in my bag and it's a hassle to take off.
But not today. As of last week, Chris and his steel-toed boots can now walk through TSA's security checkpoint without having to hold up the line.
The lines at times with taking shoes off and all the extra precautions that I understand, but at the same time get a little overboard.
He was one of many travelers that I told about the new policy on Sunday.
I am so excited. I'm beyond excited. It's fabulous.
Including Gloria, who is headed home to Tennessee and was never a fan of having to slip her shoes off in the process.
Grosses you out to walk on the floor, but yeah, I'm excited to keep my shoes on.
The ritual of de-shoeing through security has been in place across the country for nearly 20 years, and all passengers 12 to 75 were required to have their footwear scanned along with their carry-ons. What's up, guys? Are you excited to keep your shoes on? Oh, pre-check, of course. Up until now, the only way to get around it was by enrolling in TSA PreCheck, which costs around $80 for 5 years. But now all passengers can keep their shoes on, though TSA agents can still ask to see them for additional screening.
It's great. I think it'll help a lot.
Reporting at the Boise airport, I'm Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
TSA plans to review other rules and procedures to find efficiencies and further speed up the process. The agency is looking at things like separate lanes for military personnel and families with young children. They expect to begin testing some of those ideas in the next 6 to 8 months.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Scott Rovell. The heat is on, the hottest day of the week today, but look at this. Cooler weather to the north and west tracking on in. Will any of these showers and storms affect you? Plus, what about the temperature change? That's all coming up in my extended forecast.
Scott Dorval with your Idaho News 6 forecast.
Good evening again, everyone. The heat is on. Today, the hottest day of the week, above 100 most locations, officially right just teeter-tottering around 100 degrees in Boise, but to the west and to the east, it has been above 100 degrees. Generally clear skies, a little haze, some smoke from Central Oregon. Wildfires may start to come in and give us a little more haze tomorrow, but it won't be too dramatic. We'll keep an eye on it for you. So that latest number we saw, 99 degrees, that was the 5 o'clock temperature at the airport. A light breeze north at 10 miles per hour. That breeze could increase a little later this evening as the cold front approaches. The air is getting stirred up a little bit, so keep an eye on that. But mostly the wind tomorrow is what's going to be noticeable as we get a cool, refreshing breeze coming in. So we've had 102 in Mountain Home, Caldwell, and Ontario. So the valleys are baking in the mountains, not too far behind. Idaho City, 96 degrees. That's certainly on the hot side. We're going to continue to see that heat. All right, let's take a look at what's been happening across the region. And in general, skies have been clear, as I mentioned, but down to the south, right here in the Uwaihi Mountains, some lightning strikes pushing through with these storms as expected, sliding to the east, also east of the Ketchum area. There are storms as well. There's a cold front coming in. You see these little spotted clouds right there? That's a sign of cooler air coming in aloft, and that's the cool air starting to spread on in, and actually cooler air at the surface, and that's causing those clouds, that moisture to form. Most of that will slide to the east, but the breezes are going to pick up tomorrow as that slides on through, and these storms, which you see a lot of lightning here crossing from southern Twin Falls County to southern very close to Magic Mountain, going south of Burley there. But you see how dry and clear it is across the west. The storms east of the Ketchum area. This has all been played out very well on our computer forecast models. It is dry air that will come in, so we won't have a lot of moisture to trigger a thunderstorm. So there's your cooler weather sliding off to the east here. Actually going to come over us as well, but the core of the moisture will stay to the east. It's going to take this heat and push it to the south for 2 days, and then it's going to bounce right back up, and we're going to be back near 100 degrees before you know it. In the meantime, time. There's this evening, through the evening here, through 9 o'clock, temperatures up to 104. That's where we're at right now. Canyon County westward, around 108 County, 100 to 102. And then mountain home eastward here, because of the dry conditions and the gusty wind, the low relative humidity, a high fire danger. Any fires that start could spread rapidly. This is through this evening here through 9 o'clock. And there are lightning strikes to boot, even though the red flag warning is not for that. Lightning strikes could be starting fires here. You see them close to Magic Mountain. So again, it's that time of year. The fires are, incidence is likely to go up. Notice the green expand here tomorrow afternoon. So through the day tomorrow, the breeze will pick up. It'll be a refreshing breeze. So cooler temperatures. It's just not going to heat up as fast. We're going to get to seasonable levels during the afternoon instead of almost 10 degrees or 7 to 10 degrees above normal. From McCall, you see a little haze in here. That's a little smoke potential, but look at a beautiful day we had in McCall. 80 to 82 the next couple days. We're back to the mid-80s for Thursday and Friday and Saturday, but there's a front coming through Saturday night that could drop our temperature on Sunday. Keep that in mind for the upcoming weekend. We're going to start out hot, and then it's going to cool a little bit, much like from today to tomorrow. All these lines for tomorrow, that's the breeze blowing, gusts to 25 miles per hour. And look at the temperatures, generally in the 90s, so a little bit nicer there for the Central Mountains. 80s in Long Valley, 90 from Riggins, Cambridge, and Council, 95 in Garden Valley. And again, we'll likely see a breeze in most locations. My extended forecast, there you go. Tuesday, a lot of sunshine, down to 94. 93, my pick day Wednesday. Beautiful morning, light wind, excellent day. And then we're back up to the century mark on Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday, we're still close to it at 98, but a little cool down for next Sunday and Monday.
2 wildfires are burning in the Grand Canyon. I'm ABC's Melissa Adon with the details on the firefight coming up.
Explosive wildfires forcing evacuations near the Grand Canyon and torching the historic Grand Canyon Lodge at the National Park. ABC's Melissa Adon has the latest.
2 fast-moving wildfires in the Grand Canyon, forcing evacuations and burning down a historic lodge and surrounding buildings. Smoke seen coming from the north rim of the Grand Canyon National Park. Officials say flames broke out Wednesday following a thunderstorm that moved through the area, sparking the White Sage Fire and the nearby Dragon Bravo fire burning since the 4th of July after a lightning strike. Park officials say the Grand Canyon Lodge, a century-old staple, was consumed by the Dragon Bravo fire. Firefighters, along with visitors, forced to evacuate when a water treatment plant caught fire and released toxic chlorine gas. Kristen Fong was staying at the lodge.
I just felt like such a special place to be there, and to think that it just all got annihilated after we were only there a few hours.
Nearby residents are under mandatory evacuation orders. The fire was initially managed as a controlled burn, but then grew rapidly. In a social media post, Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs says Arizonans deserve answers for how this fire was allowed to decimate the Grand Canyon National Park. Meteorologists say the hot, dry, and windy conditions are a continued threat for new fires this week.
The vegetation, the brush, the grass that is in that area is quite dry. And when you add just a little bit of wind, it'll really move rapidly across that landscape.
And in Utah, this fire tornado caught on camera from the intensity of the Deer Creek fire. The north rim of the Grand Canyon remains closed for the season, and these closures are expected to last until the area is deemed safe. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Final check at that forecast. Some temperature changes coming in. 101 in Boise today. Some places hotter, down to 94 tomorrow with a breeze, and then light wind on Wednesday down to 93, which is seasonable. 93 is where we're supposed to be, and so it'll actually be pretty comfortable, especially in the morning. It'll be beautiful, but temperatures quickly spiking to right at the century mark Thursday and Friday. Still 98 on Saturday, but look at this. Another dip in temperature coming in through the weekend. This could mean a breeze. I'll keep you updated on that weekend forecast. Another update coming your way in Idaho News 6 tonight at 6 o'clock. Have a great evening, everyone. We'll see you then.